Hello, Beat Baseball World, coming at you live from the Sirens Complex. I am on the fourth floor of the Sirens Complex here in St. Louis, Missouri, home of the 2024 Beat Baseball World Series. I am Neil Mick, 2024 presidential candidate. If you are interested in leadership for this league going forward, I'm your only candidate you need to worry about on this ticket. And of course, I'm here with my co-host, my press secretary, my chief of staff, my what's that called? Campaign manager. Every once in a while, I even call this dude my bestie, Dr. Bear Clark. Hello,
Look at you.
Seth. Wow.
Look at you, Neil Dog. It's like you had a note card, man. Just but you just coming off the dome, man. Like the professional you are, man.
If I had a note card, I wouldn't have screwed part of it up. I sat there in the shower a little while practicing that, and I still screwed it up. And I left part of it out from going back to our last show. I was like, oh, I need to include my Secret Service agent also. But then I
Yeah,
thought of the reality of that. If anybody
yeah.
yells gun, I'm going to be the last thing on your mind. You
And
are not.
you as a president, if you're a real president, not a real. The NBVA is important, so everybody doesn't jump on.
Yeah, will you please be careful tonight?
Yeah.
Can we get through the election before you make jokes?
He's like big deal, you're the president.
Yeah, don't let me say that the NBBA isn't important. I'm sorry, you're right, Neil Dog. You know what? I would put my life in to save you, man. As long as you win, if you can guarantee me you're gonna win, I'm all in. But
Just going back to the last show, we're talking about some rule changes, and Seth made a joke about how he doesn't like umpires. And here, Mike Woodard, one of our league umpires, is listening. And so after, I never see the comments until the show is over, and I'm going through the comments, and Mike Woodard's like, "Don't like umpires." So I was like, man, can I just ask that when you're voting next week, you remember Seth said that, not Neil Dog. Seth made that comment.
What? I said what, man? He's like, come on, man. But I understand. I don't hate umpires. I love me some. Dan Tracy and I got along great when I was older.
Eventually. Eventually.
Yeah. Toss.
Who was the one you were ready to chase through the parking lot?
That guy we never that was 1997. That guy I don't think we ever made up.
Scott Skinner, the biggest piece of crap umpire who has ever lived. The vindictive little piece of crap who never should have been ever put on the beat baseball field and hasn't been at the World Series in a long time. But that dude was an ex-Marine and heard that the Dogs were the bad boys of beat ball, and he literally went into a game when we were playing. It was the undefeated game. We were playing Austin in the undefeated game. He's like, I'll show these guys. And he did. He cheated us out of getting to the championship game. He won ultimately, but that guy was a piece of work. And he stood there after we were all upset after the game, taunting us, like right at our bench, taunting us. And I remember Diane, a member of the North Carolina group that was with us, she's like, I'm an ASA umpire in North Carolina, and this is totally out of line. You need to get out of here. And he looked at her and said, you need to shut up. It's like, oh, wow.
Yes. That's the one guy I never made up with, right? But
then we had to play in the third place game to try. We lost to Wichita 15-8, but we had to play the third place game and try to get into the championship game still. And Dan Tracy, the head umpire, is like, man, we're really short. Would you let this guy ump this game? I was like, hell no. We'll forfeit the game before we'll play for this clown again. But anyways.
Who was the umpire when we were playing Fort Worth when Eric kicked the wire out of the base?
Oh, you know what?
Wouldn't let us replay that.
I think that was Kim.
It was Kip
Yeah,
Price. I didn't want to say though, because his son Jason Price is the head umpire now. And in the end, Kim, to be clear, before I get in trouble for
I would just like to point out every negative word that was said was not said by me. So So it's all good.
There were
I
quite
think
a few of them
I
though
think
on
I can
that
quote
one.
Neil.
They got it documented. They got you documented in that one, yelling like, "Get some glasses, Blue!"
Yeah, right. So that was Kemp, and Kemp and I became really
No,
cool
in the
in the year.
in the and shout out Jason Price is the head umpire of the league now. That's Kemp's son, and his grandson is also an umpire in the league. Kemp made the right call. Eric missed the base, and I don't know if he.
Whoa! He did not.
I don't.
Good job, Eric. Good job.
He didn't hit the base.
You're lucky
Either way,
I'm 2 hours. I'm now an hour away from you.
but
I'm gonna run there now and kick your ass. That ain't true.
I don't know if he missed the base, whatever. He got
He
the
kicked the wire
He
and pulled it out and
unplugged
he
it.
couldn't find the base. That's bullshit. He didn't. No way.
Listen,
No, I don't know if I missed the base or kicked to the wire all at the same
No.
time. That part.
You
But
kicked
it
the wire.
unplugged
Come
the
on.
base and it
Yeah.
turned it off. But
Yeah.
by the league rule, Kemp called it right. Whether you agree with the rule, the way it's written, whatever, Kemp called that rule right at the time. We didn't like it.
Yeah.
It sucked. It knocked us out of the tournament.
Right.
We lost 22-19 to Fort Worth. They went on to the championship game. But Kemp didn't make a bad call. We just didn't like the call. We might not like the way the rule was written, but anyways.
And Fort Worth would have had the last ups, but
Right.
anyways, yeah.
And just on a funny note, it wasn't until like 1996 or whatever that I finally answered the question: how are all these umpires' names
Name Blue?
But God, we get the same umpire every year, man. Who is Blue? Like, oh, I get it, but I never was enough. So, well,
That was that story was funny. I remember my second year, third year, and they were, how they do the remember people and that type of stuff. And I didn't know there was shot in the dark. And so they're like, da 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 da, shot in the dark. Wow, this is heavy. I'm just sitting there like, whoa, did they really have to share that part?
For people that didn't get that, Eric's talking about the memorial plaque, and back when we started playing, it was a small enough list to where they would read all the names on the list. And Eric said his first World Series, and they're like, so and so shot in the dark, which was that was the name of a team like out of New York. And Eric turns to me, he's like, "Man, that's harsh."
Walking too fast and they shot him in the dark, man.
Along those same lines, I'm not going to say the names, but our own team, the Sirens that I'm an assistant coach on now, we did an exhibition for one of our sponsors a few weeks ago. In the field that we played on, they wanted us all to sign waivers, so we're all in our general manager's room, filling out these waivers. And one of our younger players, it asked for the emergency contact, and she puts her mother's name, and it asked for relationship. She put her boyfriend's name. Laugh with that one.
I've had some clients do that on me too, where they do the same thing, where they'll put, they'll say, their mom's name, and then they'll put the phone number down, and then relationship, and then they'll put a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a spouse or something like that. And it always cracks me up because these will be 30,
Grown-ups.
35, 40-year-olds, and I'm like, okay.
I'm happy to say in this case, it was an 18-year-old, so it was a little more understandable. She probably hadn't filled that out too often. Before we get too crazy out of control, we should introduce everybody that's here with us. Before we move on, this is an idea Seth and I have talked about for a while, and Eric, who's here with us, mentioned doing the same thing not too long ago. I listed the title of the show as The Originals. Almost went with The Untouchables, but I thought maybe that was a little too boasty, but I went with The Originals because we got the original starting six from the West Coast Dawgs that helped get us going, won our first championship. The six of us were playing together in 1999 when we won our first championship here in Sacramento 25 years ago, and it was 30 years ago when we started the West Coast Dawgs. And we'll start out with number 10, Mr. Eric Masri, I.A. Ghost. What up, E-Dog?
Hey, Neil, thanks for putting this together. This
Heck
has
yeah.
been a long time coming. It's amazing where 25 years have gone. It seems like a lifetime ago, but lots of great times together.
For some of us, it was.
Yeah. It is crazy how
Sorry.
long ago it was
Yeah.
and how old we were. Like Seth and I were talking about Fort Lauderdale not too long ago. It was something about his dad came up. It's like, holy crap, your dad was younger then than we are now. Which blows me away. Blows me away. I never thought I'd be as old as Joel Clark, for God's sake.
Right.
But bringing in the rest, I'm going to try to get us in the order where we kind of got together as this team came along, which means I'm going to go up to number 3. Roger Brock. What up, Raj?
How's it going, guys? I was skeptical about the meeting, as you know, and seeing you guys in this group, man, brought back the love. I forgot how much I missed all you guys. Seriously, hearing your voices and this interaction is it's pretty freaking amazing, man. I remember the days. Thank you, Neil.
No, it's
Glad
cool.
you made it, Raj.
Absolutely.
It was not ironic because, I've known you over 30 years, but when you were showing a little bit of hesitation, I was tripping because whenever you and I talk, we're like, man, we got to get everybody together. So not like this is like an in-person barbecue. We're not going to be able to play poker and all that stuff, but the 6 of us are getting together and you're like, I don't know, man.
Hey, just to say, I thought we were just going to sit around and have some beers.
You're more than welcome to be drinking now. You're more than welcome.
I probably shouldn't say this
maybe.
because of all of our young players, but right there to my left is the Sirens liquor cabinet. So we can get going if we need to, y'all. Next up, from Long Island, New York, number 4, Danny Hall of Fame Fabiano. What up, Fabi?
What's up, boys? So pumped to have this going on tonight. Miss all you guys. Miss playing ball with you guys. The old days of beat ball. Definitely better than
the new days.
What I see going on now. Yeah. Stuff they go on.
Now that the bodies broke down, stuff like that. Well,
no,
well,
definitely
a lot of fun.
I would have thought that the next guy came before DFOP though.
Nah, he didn't. DFOP joined us in '93 when we were the Thrashers, though, and we didn't get the next guy until the following year. And that next guy, number 32, another Hall of Famer, Mike Big Game Finn, Mikey P, baby. Good to have you back.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for putting this all together. This is, really great and really fun. Good memory of, whole times, and when you sent out the text saying, it was 25 years ago when we won the World Series in '99. I was like, wow, that's right. That's 25 years ago. It's like, I can't believe it's that long.
It doesn't feel that long ago.
Not at all. It's like the time's gone by so fast. The years just keep, rolling along, but just, great times, over all of it. And, really enjoyed, I enjoy, trying to stay in touch and think about, playing with you guys all the time. Every time I step onto the field, I always have all of you in my heart with me going out there.
And right back at you, man. Same to all of you. But I thought about this coming in while we're focused on Mike, because Mike has now been playing this game for 30 years, you guys. This is Mike's 30-year anniversary of playing. I don't believe you've ever missed a tournament in that 30 years, right? Or have you? Oh, 04. You didn't go.
I didn't go to
04.
04. Yeah,
right.
That was the only one.
But neither did the Dogs. So a few of us got on other other rosters. But had the Dogs gone, I'm sure you would have gone that year also. But man, back in the 90s, Mike, you were doing everything, man. You were running track for USABA. You were a bowler, you like to go hiking and this and that, and you're always all over the place. And not just you and Roger. Every year from tournament to tournament, we were stressed to death. We weren't going to be able to get you guys to the tournament until the ticket was purchased. We never knew if we were going to have you guys. Eric and Danny, Seth, if we would have thought like 25 years ago, who would still be playing, in 2024, who would have put their money on Mike Finn?
Right. That's true.
Well, and
he's
even
gotten better.
even
Gotten
even
better
as
with
we
you.
speak, so the Masters National Track and Field Competition is being held at American River College there in Sacramento. And if it wasn't for the fact that the events that I wanted to compete in were on Sunday, the day we're supposed to fly for St. Louis, I would be over there competing in that, like, right now. So, but I passed on that. I'm going to play in the series because there's a couple other Masters track meets in September and October that I'm going to hit instead. But yeah, all those things that you mentioned, I still do them all.
Man, I've kept it up for not just beat ball for 30 years, man. All of it, man. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Eddie, you to me.
Yeah, I mean, we still hike all the time. We boogie board. I still run masters and seniors track and field as well as coach it, and um, all the other stuff. Kayak whenever we get the opportunity. We picked up paddle boarding. Nadine's playing pickleball now, and I play. I got a pickleball with an LED light, and so we go to a pickleball court where there's no lights at nighttime, so that I can actually see it. And I play pickleball with my wife Nadine. So yeah,
You know,
pretty cool.
Firefly.
exactly.
I like to say our wife Nadine. one of the times I had Mike on the show with the Blackhawks, we had Darius Sterling on who's one of the top players in the league, and I was joking around with Mike about how whatever Nadine's our lady or whatever, and I was like, Darius, man, you ever heard of a throuple? He's like, what, you talking about threesome? It's like, whoa, calm down. I'm trying to have a little innocent fun here, man.
Hey, what happened to the young years? Young years.
Along those lines,
Neil saying something inappropriate, Sean.
along these same lines, we just talked about, how surprising it is that Mike is still playing beat ball all these years later. I think the least surprising thing is, like Seth and Christina still together, Eric and Kim still together, Roger and Cindy still together, Mike and Nadine, Danny and
Renata.
I almost called her Rosina. Sorry. Danny and Renata still together. Neil Dawgs still single as hell.
Some things will never change.
Neil's still having to talk to all those ladies inappropriately because I got nobody to talk inappropriately. So thank you guys for putting up with me all these years. Thank you, ladies, for me. Man, I get you. Like we got kind of a big circle group, and it's hard to really come in with a lot of content. But I did want to ask each one of you if you guys have like a favorite memory, and I'll start with you, E-Dog. You got a favorite memory from our years with the Dogs?
As far as on the field, was our defense. That was like, to me, all of my memories of us winning champions and all that is always like a defensive game where we're all locked in, and like the championship game when we won that first year, '99. I don't think this has happened that often, but what I remember from that game is every defensive player that was on the field made a play. Everybody had to put out, and that's pretty rare.
Yeah,
in beat baseball, that all 6 defenders make a put out.
Right.
That's probably, I'm sure it's probably happened before.
No, definitely. I mean, I don't know about the World Series. It's definitely earlier this year. The Gateway Archers won one of their invitational tournaments, as they've had a really good year. They're coming in as the number 2 seed, and they had one of the champion. I don't remember which one. Maybe Indianapolis, the Bonanza, but in one of the championship games they won this year, all 6 players had a put out.
Yeah,
and I love that it got pointed out, because that's a big deal. It is rare. I dig
very
that.
rare. Yeah.
And then go ahead.
Following year, our defense in Taiwan, that was probably my favorite championship game, as far as just our defense ratcheted up from like innings 4 through 6, and you could just kind of feel the intensity on the field of all of us, just like not wanting to let any run score, and you could just kind of feel it was like contagious. They talk about offenses contagious. To me, I thought with our team, it was defense was
definitely.
contagious.
And not even just in games. Like I don't think people get how intense our practices were when we're playing Law of the Jungle.
Playing Law, yeah. So
yeah. Like man, once
and
we
all
started,
we all didn't want to be the one to make the mistake to blow it. So we just locked in crazy.
Yeah, no, we took when we were playing Law of the Jungle, we did it with the intensity of a game. And I can't stress.
I remember the time Don pulled us up, made us stop.
Right.
Said we were doing so bad that we had to stop.
We couldn't get off the field.
Well, that was the thing is people need
crushed, man. We were like, man, oh my God, no.
Right. Well, the thing was, people need to understand when we played Law of the Jungle, if we missed the ball, the numbers went up, and that meant we had to block more.
Yeah.
Right.
So we would start at 18, and I remember a few times we got up like close to 30 before we started knocking that number down.
Lupe Perez, who played with us towards the end of the Dogs, went to the San Antonio Jets, and they're not going this year, but the last 4 years they finished second. They've been a really, really good team, and they've won the Spotters. They won the Spotters Award last year. They're a good defensive team, and when Lupe first went to them, he was trying to teach them Law of the Jungle. And when he's telling them how, the ball's got to, the count's got to go up. You miss the ball, it goes from 18 to 19. And they're like, dude, you're crazy. That'll take forever. They wouldn't even try it with them. No, they're playing on Texas fields. They're playing on Texas fields. That might have been the reason. But still, man, they're like, you're crazy.
Road Dog. The Buffalo Jets?
Oh, that's cold, dude. That's cold. They were calling themselves that, and I told them not to because I had to say it.
We were all thinking it. Somebody was saying.
I guarantee Roger wasn't thinking it. He's over there like, who the hell the Jets?
Actually, like New York style? I
don't know. Roger, man, do you have any like? I know beat ball goes back 25 years for you, but you got a favorite?
It's a little different than Eric's for sure. I love the competitiveness of the sport. I love competing. I like trying to go for a championship, but my highlight, dude, of all this is the 6 on the screen, to be honest with you. And I forgot how much that meant to me until now. So,
dude, be careful.
But I know mush.
You're gonna make me cry.
You're gonna make Neil break down.
Oh,
that's the goal of the show.
We're trying to project strength as a president.
Hey, Seth, that is a strength, my brother. That is.
I need to show the people I'm
no crying in baseball.
No, just in a Zoom meeting.
Listen, hey Neil, just so you know, the MBB don't want no crying president.
That's right. That's why you vote Neil Dog this year, people.
Short and sweet, man. In a nutshell, that's it for me, Neil. Seriously, man.
No, I dig that.
It's this group right here. It's this group right here.
You got one?
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely 99 because we finally got over the hump of beating the Blackhawks because I think the year before they run-ruled us twice in one game, and we held them to 4. Right. We held them to 4 runs in the championship game.
Seth and I always try to remember which we remember getting run-ruled twice in one game, but we couldn't remember if it was Wichita
it was
Austin. But
it was both. It was both. Yeah,
they both did that?
I don't remember Wichita doing that to us.
93. In 93.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that didn't count with the Thrashers then.
No,
we weren't the Dogs yet.
Oh, so Wichita did it to us in 93?
Yeah. And the Blackhawks in 98.
Oh, that's crazy. In 93, Wichita didn't even have Parker yet. They still run-rolled us twice. That's embarrassing.
Can I tell you my most embarrassing part of a plan?
Yeah, sure.
No, when Stamble ran backwards and scored.
Yeah. That was in 98. We've talked about that. We talked about that on the show. Dude had a pulled hamstring
and ran backwards.
Backwards and scored on. Ooh, we're the best defense ever. People, they scored on us running backwards, man. That was crazy. Mike Dog, what you got?
Oh, it's really tough. Number one, I gotta, back Rogers' comment up too that, I just, love all you guys, and it was just, awesome playing with you and being competitive and driven. And just with that set, just like how, we're talking about, law of the jungle and working so hard on our defense, as a team at practice, after practice, food and poker and, hanging out.
Jasper's
And
Double Giants.
Jasper's Burgers and Shakes. And, I still remember that place, like it was yesterday. So it's really tough to narrow it down. And, I think we needed that 98 to get ourselves comfortable with being in the championship game and the stuff like that, because when we got there in 99, we crushed it. I don't think there was a doubt in any of our minds that we weren't going to just crush that game in 99. And that was a huge part of it all. So but yeah, it was just the whole mindset of all of us super focused all together on the same thing was just awesome.
I remember because even though we finished in third a few times before 98, 98's the first time we finally got into the championship game. And man, I had the jitters for like 4 innings. I remember that specifically, but I also agree with you on 99. I remember when we were getting warmed up before the 99 game. And actually, we didn't even get warmed up back then. That was before we knew the new science, and we're stretching. And we were doing that stupid stretch where we lay on the ground and tuck like one leg back to stretch the quad or whatever.
Yeah,
and I'm laying flat on my back, and Jim Lyons' son, Jim Lyons was the pitcher of Wichita, and his son Randy, his kids, like all the kids always followed our team around, but Randy Lyons, he was like 10 or 12 at the time, and he's standing near me while we were doing that stretch. He looks down at me, he's like, "Dang, Neil Dog, you don't even look nervous." Like, man, I'm not. This is our day. This is our day. So I'm with you right there. Set Dog, what you got?
I was trying to think of it, and as the co-host, I figure I can get more than one. One, without a doubt, my favorite game in the history of my career, and that's the Dogs versus the Cobras in Florida. When we all like, it was, because you and I, Neil, had always been the more outspoken, the more wild of the group. And it was when Eric let loose, Roger let loose, Mike everybody was just like, man, we're all in. And we just ran our mouths until Dan Tracy broke it out late in the game, man.
We went into, and Danny wasn't with it. Danny was on the Olympic. It wasn't an Olympic year, but you were on the USA goalball team. So you weren't there with us that year, but the Chicago Cobras came on the scene in 1992. Josh Perry and Chad Perry. Chad Perry's still pitching for the Chicago Comets today. And, they were young and they were cocky. Hoodlum and L. Darnell Williams and Dan Green, Chris DiStefano, and they were just badasses. Like, you know what I mean? They played kind of like the Raiders in the 70s, man. They just had this attitude about them, and we dug that. We built the Dogs kind of based on wanting to be like that, be defensive minded, tough minded, and just try to intimidate people or whatever. So when we got the Cobras in our round robin in the first day, we couldn't have been more excited. But the day didn't go too well. It didn't start too well. I dislocated my shoulder in the second inning of the first game, so I was out. We only had 8 players there to begin with, and we got to the Cobras later that day, and I can't even say we because I was on the sidelines, but we just kicked their ass. It was like 22-8 after 4 innings, I think, put them in the run rule, and we were just rubbing it in their face and cocky. Seth got a warning that he could have been thrown out. Man, I'm all high on Percocet. I almost got thrown out. I remember when we really got rolling, I was like, yeah, it's time to do a Cobra doggy style. And I was like, okay. That's enough. Actually, Don Robinson's favorite story always came from that game because, for like 4 innings, I got my arm pinned to my body. I'm high on Percocet, walking up and down the sideline, just yelling crazy stuff. And Don's like, Neil, will you please just do me a favor and just come sit on the bench and be quiet? It's like, Don, you're the goddamn coach. If you want me to sit down, just tell me to sit down. It's like yelling at Don. He's like, oh, I thought I just did. No, that was crazy. Actually, the first time, because I started doing the show by myself just in Beepball Nation. And then when we moved it to YouTube, I was able and got on Zoom, I was able to bring Seth in. So the first show we ever did on YouTube, we had Henry Wooford, our original pitcher, come on with us. And we told that whole Cobra story. I don't know if people appreciated it, but man, it was fun to relive that. For me, did you have
Hold on?
Yeah, okay.
I did. Well, and I just want to, because I know Danny wasn't on there. I just got to say, because the thought that I always remember, I don't believe Danny was there, but I do want to throw out the most memorable moment, perhaps.
Why all your favorite memories when I'm not there?
No, and you're gonna love this one, man. Walking down the hallway with Neil, I believe in Ohio, after we've won a championship, and saying to Neil, man, let's just chill and relax tonight, and knocking on Danny's door, and the door flying open, and Danny said, Vic's trying to kill me, man.
Yeah.
That's your favorite moment? You getting beat up by a freaking
and it was so funny because I always remember it because it was like, from that point on, it was just a nightmare of a night. And there's very few times that it's just in one moment, right? Just everything breaks down. But really what I always think of when I always think of the Dogs, I think of that final van ride home as the Dogs once we lost those 2 games, listening to that Nelly song. Right, Nelly. Well, I can't. I can't sing, but we just listened to it on loop.
I love you. Yeah, I need you.
That's the one. We sat in that van, listened to it all the way home, and that was our last time that like we ever played together. It never happened.
Yeah, again. The Dogs was never totally the same after that. Roger wasn't even with us by that point.
No, it all started to break down. So, but no, those are my. But I didn't want to mention Danny because I do think of that one, man. Just that.
Dude,
Fix
remember like it happened yesterday.
The best part, I mean, not the best part, but the most ironic thing about that is, we had just won our 3rd championship in a row, and like our celebration was never put together. Like we were never all together to celebrate. Like in '99, like I disappeared with my girlfriend in '99, and in 2000, Seth wasn't with us, but also after the banquet, like Greg and Vic and Brian Doris, like they all went to downtown Taiwan and hung out in a bunch of seedy bars. You went with them, right, Roger? After in Taiwan?
I have no idea what you're talking about, dude.
Yeah, okay.
You got the wrong guy.
That's the non-Zoom show. That's the non-Zoom.
So Roger wasn't there.
Did
you go with them, Mike?
He went back to bed.
Dude, Danny and I were hanging out in the room playing Parker Brothers baseball, man. After the banquet, there was nobody around to party with. And so in 2001, it's like, okay, we're all together. We got to make sure we party together. We had the room set up, had a bathtub full of beer, bottles of Jack Daniels. We were all ready to go. Knock on the door. Danny didn't just answer and say that. He was all out of breath. They'd been fighting for 10 minutes. Vic's like a 6'3" biker, man. Danny's 5'4". Danny opens the door. He's all out of breath. He's trying to kill me.
Thanks for the extra inch, Neil.
That was
the beginning of the end, man. That the whole night was a freaking
my
nightmare, man.
that
was crazy.
Some people shouldn't be allowed to drink, and he was one of them.
Oh yeah, no, it's good. He sobered up. That's good.
Good, Vic. Well, what about you, Neil?
For me, I've said many times that the 1995 World Series is, I feel like one of the most competitive tournaments ever. Like us, Austin, Fort Worth, Wichita, the Cobras, the Houston Bombers, all 6 of us were all quality teams that could have popped into the top 2 and 3. And it was a tough tournament. We had to play Wichita to start the championship round on Thursday, and we lost 18-17, putting us in the losers bracket. So we had to come up through the losers bracket. We had to win 3 games on Friday. We started out against the Cobras. They had us down 15-4 going into the bottom of the 3rd inning, and we came from behind and won that game 18-17. And then the very next game, we were playing Wichita, and same thing. Going into the bottom of the 4th, we're down 12-3, and we come back. We won that game by the same score, 18-17. And then the next game was the Fort Worth game where we were talking about earlier, where stupid Eric unplugged them.
We also lost. We lost home field. We had home field the rest of the all the other games.
We played Wichita and both games against Wichita and the game against Cobras were all on the same field, and all 3 of those games ended in an 18-17 score with the home team winning. Wichita won that first one on Thursday, but the home team won all 3 of those games, and all games were 18-17. But just like the energy on our sideline when we came back in those games, remember, Danny, we were like all on the sideline lined up, holding hands, and yeah, man, I'll never forget that day. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, and I don't remember it very well, and it's always hard to kind of. I think we had a really, really good time later on that night.
Oh yeah.
You think?
If I remember correctly, we had a very, very good time later on.
I'm not going to say, rest in peace. I'm not going to say who it was. We had a great California player on our roster that year. He was older then. He wasn't really one of our starters, but Seth, Henry, and Christina all stayed in the same room together, and they bought like some chicken from the grocery store, fried chicken that was already made at the grocery store on like Tuesday or Wednesday. And when we're partying on Friday night, the lazy fools never threw it away. And when we're partying on Friday night, dude says, I smell chicken. Dude found the bag, started eating that 3-day-old chicken, man. Started eating that chicken. No, that night was a crazy party. That was the same night. Now that they're getting divorced, our Hall of Fame spotter and head coach Chris Hunsucker never wanted this story told because his wife would not have liked it. But he was so drunk. Mike, was it you and I, Mike, that were walking him back to his room?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never even with him.
Mike and I
beat him up.
Mike and I are trying to walk Chris back to his room because he's just beyond bombed. He needed to go to bed, and he fell out of our hands and fell into one of the doorways and cracked his head. I don't remember where he hit.
Yeah,
his chin.
Split on
it was his
yep.
chin.
Yep.
He hit his chin right on the doorway and split, like blood gushing everywhere. We had to take him and get help or whatever. And he didn't remember any of it. It broke his glasses. That's why his wife never knew. She's like, how'd you break your glasses? He's like, one of the blind dudes sat on him or whatever. He never told his wife what happened. But when he woke up the next day, he's like, man, all I remember is Danny hitting me. It's like, what? What are you talking?
Good job, Pop.
He was 1,000,000% convinced that Fabiano beat him up when he woke up the next morning.
He had no clue what had happened.
No idea. You beat yourself up. No, I remember seeing Danny punch me. Now you don't.
That's pretty funny to have.
Oh man.
we had some good times after the games. And as somebody said before, in all phase, I mean, that was the greatest thing about us. And people say, I mean, we were all about defense, right? We would go out and we'd practice defense. All we'd do is Law of the Jungle. But then we'd come back to Neil's house and we'd sit there and talk about defense for like 2 hours. I mean, that's all, that's all we were focused on, man. But
not always talk. We had some heated conversations.
Yeah. I mean, and that was just, we were just creating that defensive juggernaut. And that was incredible, and that was fun, man. That was
yeah. We used to analyze and talk about shifts for this batter for that team, or what stack guys over here. I mean, people do that now. It's just so we did that back in the early '90s.
Then we'd start drinking and playing poker. And nobody hated this part more than Mike Finn. But eventually, Seth and I were always going to get in an argument. And around that time, Mike's like, well, it's reached that time. I'm probably head home.
I'm out.
The night's ruined. The rest of the night, they're fighting there. Another one of my favorite memories, Danny. I mean, in general, we kind of did this to each other, but we would take ice baths at night to kind of refreshen our legs, and we would always try so hard to get in somebody else's room and dump extra ice on the player. I mean, I remember I don't know who let him in my room, but I was in the ice bath one night, and here comes Seth with a whole garbage can full of ice and just dumps it straight on me, man. But in 98 in Oklahoma, Danny and I are hanging out. We called over Seth's room. Christina's like, oh, he's in the ice bath. And all of a sudden, Danny and I are like giddy little school kids. And we'd start to leave my room because I had a key to your room for some reason. We start to leave to go get them. And we think, you know what, though? We got that ice chest in there. Let's go fill that up instead. So we go running back to my room, and then we're going back to Seth's room. It's like, crap, I forgot the key. So we got to run back to my room again. Finally, we get to Seth's room like 10 minutes later. I got the key. We're feeling all ready. We're going to finally get Seth. And you guys got the bar locked up. And Christina's like, what? You didn't think he knew you were coming? Andy and I worked like 10 minutes to get you and didn't get anywhere close to you, man.
I got a good ice bath story with me and Dan in 2012, the first year we were playing for the Austin Blackhawks. We were staying in this hotel, and the rooms that Dan and I had didn't have bathtubs.
That's right. The shower still only.
Yeah, they only had showers, but Uncle Mike was up on the 7th floor, and he had a bathtub. So we're like, oh, cool. It's like, can we take ice baths in your tub? And he's like, oh, no, yeah, sure, great, no problem. So we get an ice bath all set up in Uncle Mike's, room, that sort of thing. Well, it's storming outside really bad. And I just get out of the ice bath, and Dan's in the ice bath for maybe like 15 of his 20 minutes. And all of a sudden, tornado warning goes up, and we're all supposed to go to the lobby and not use the elevator. So we're 7 floors up. Our legs are frozen solid, and we're trying to like walk down through the stairwell on frozen legs, 7 stories all the way down to the lobby. And it's like, dude, hang on to the railing tight, man. It's like, we're gonna like totally eat it going down these stairs. But
I do remember that. That was funny.
Oh, it was classic. It was so funny. I'm like, oh man, be careful, be careful. We're like in flip flops and trying to get down the stairs without killing ourselves.
I'm glad you threw out the 20-minute thing because, and I two of my favorite players, guys that I enjoyed talking with from the Philly Fire, Casey Krause and Tyler Rodriguez. When I had them on the show last fall, and they were talking about taking ice baths, they don't stay in there for more than like 10 minutes, Mikey.
Yep. Well, there's a big thing. I mean, it's gotten really popular now. I mean, this has been around forever, but now with technology, they have all these cold plunges you can put in your backyard, and you can keep the water at like 33 degrees. And if it's that cold, you actually don't want to be in for
20 minutes.
They're in a hotel bathtub
Right.
doing the same thing we did, putting in
Right.
water and then dumping in a couple little
Yeah.
buckets.
Exactly.
They are not
So when
touching 33 degrees. I promise that. They're not getting 66 degrees. Probably.
when you get the water in the 50s or the 60s, and you're only, it's only your lower body submerged because you're in a bathtub. It's like, yeah, you should be in there for at least 15, and 20 is better, especially farther into the week and stuff like that. But yeah, that was the thing. It's like I did my 20, Dan got 15 in, and then we had to like go fly down the stairs. So, but yeah, it's
Well, speaking of my buddy Vic, the best story about ice baths. Remember the hotel on top of the top floor in Taiwan?
Oh yeah.
Where they had
Don't be shy.
They had actual bathtubs, three hot tubs. Like one hot tub, one was like medium temperature, one was ice bath. So me and Vic show up to that gym place and go in. They go, all right, you guys got to get naked. And we're like, yeah, okay, buddy. They thought we think we're stupid Americans. No way, come on. They go, no, you really got to get naked. And we got to walk around here naked. So me and Vic get undressed, and now we're trying to walk along, and he's like, don't touch me, don't. Two blind people trying to follow somebody else. We're bumping off wall. So then they tell you he brings up this big square thing in the middle, and they have like hoses hanging down where you could shower. They want you to shower yourself off before you get to the hot tubs, water, cold tub, whatever. So they have stools lined up there. So I pick the stool up and sit at the side. I ain't sitting on the stool. Vic sits down on the stool. And so I lean over to him, I go, Vic, what are you doing? He's like, what do you mean? He's like, there's a stool. I got to sit down and hose myself. If I go, you don't know whose ass has been on there? And up so fast. Behind him. And he said he stuck the hose up his ass. He's like washing his ass off. Freaking dying.
Actually, when Casey and TY were on the show talking about ice baths, I told some of those the Taiwan stories because keep in mind too, the people that worked up there spoke limited English. So
yeah,
they're telling us to get naked and where to go, and we can't even hardly understand anything that's being said to us. A few nights later, Mike, Roger, I think you and I, Danny, the four of us went up there, and Eric was convinced they weren't going to make him get naked. Boy, Eric's in his swim trunks, and they're like, have to come off. And he's I'm okay. I'm all right.
We equal. Don't be shy. We equal. Okay. All right.
No, I can't even remember any of those. I mean, I'm sure I can, but those nights when Eric, you would just see that, because Eric is really intelligent and on it, and then sometimes you give him alcohol and that light just goes off. You can see that is long gone. That intelligent Eric is gone, man. And fun Eric has arrived, man.
Oh man,
not always so fun. Dude gets pretty kissy when he's that drunk.
Hey, tell me, I was rooming with him in Taiwan. I know all about
it. I was always scared I was going
around naked there, right?
I was always scared I was going to wake up with a hickey after Eric was drinking. I forgot I wanted to mention this, going back to that Fort Lauderdale tournament when I dislocated my shoulder. Well, after we got knocked out of the tournament, I'm in my room hanging out, and you guys, Danny, Roger, Mike, and Eric, you guys had all gone out to breakfast, and Eric was cool, bought me some breakfast, like some French toast, and brought it back, and I'm sitting there with one hand, like, dude, I can't cut this. Will you cut it? Eric's like, nope. he wouldn't have no part of that, man. Like, nope.
You should pick it up and dip it in syrup.
Eric's like, sorry, dude. I bought it. You're on your own. My man Mikey Finn, though, Mikey P came over there, the rookie. He took care of a vet and chopped up my French toast for me. And I was listening to your live stream, Mike, when Steve Puryear hurt his shoulder. I don't remember if it's dislocated or what he did to it, but I was listening to that stream, and I remember I was sending Molly was doing the play-by-play at that moment, and I remember sending her messages like, "Man, you gotta hook Mikey up with the man. Mikey will cut his meat for him."
Yeah, Steve and I room together pretty much at every tournament.
Oh,
So
is that right?
yeah, not just because of that, but it did pay off because yeah, I helped him out with everything he
Oh,
needed.
Mikey's still coming through, baby. Gotta
Yeah.
love that. Gotta love that. Well, dang, man. Honestly, it's gone fast, but we've already yacked it up for like an hour. And I literally could do this all night with you guys. But before we wrap it up, is there anything you guys got, any special memories, anything other kind of thing you want to throw out about our old days?
I'll go. I just want to
Yeah.
thank all of you guys just for the great memories we created, friendships, great times. That stuff you can't. It's invaluable. Great memories, friendships. Those last a lifetime, and we just happened to be doing it with something we all love, which was we were all played competitive sports, and for different reasons. Myself, I didn't get into any competitive sports once I lost my sight, and then I found out about beep ball. Neil, you kind of introduced it to me up in Sacramento, and so I want to thank you for introducing me to it and just meeting everybody else that's on this call and the rest of the people on the team. Appreciate all of you guys.
No, right back at you. I mean, honestly, especially like in our blind world, getting like 6 blind athletes that can compete at the level that we were able to all together at the same time. Like you can't plan for that. You can't, you know what I mean? It all just kind of fell into place, including like getting Danny into the mix. None of us knew FOP, even though we played again, like Seth and
Well, that
Eric
was
and I.
Seth made the contact with Gold Ball.
Yeah,
Came up to
because
me
you got
during a Gold Ball tournament.
yeah,
Seth.
you guys. Well, you guys were on like the USA team together for
we're in
some
Canada.
tournament.
Yeah, we were in
Yeah,
Canada.
Canada. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was just weird how, I mean, the world just kind of put us all together and we found a way to make the most out of it. But I totally agree. I mean, I realized, there were some hard times there, there are a lot of, fights that went along just as much as the love, and everything wasn't always peachy. But now that it's all said and done, I wouldn't trade any of it.
Yeah,
Same
you got
here.
six intense people that are there. There's got to be some disagreements.
As it turned out, I mean, look at this group. We got the first player ever to hit a beat baseball home run back when the line was at 180 feet. We got 4 Hall of Famers, and we got Roger.
Oh my God, dude. Is it my turn yet?
We'll let you go.
Roger, I gotta say, I was so happy when I knew you were gonna be on the call. It's like, good, I'm not the only non-Hall of Famer that gotta be out here.
So while we're on me, I'd like to have my time. I'd like to thank Mike Finn back in the day for helping sponsor me, honestly, because funds were low, and that dude helped me get to the tournaments, to be honest with you. And shout out to you, Mike, for doing that. I appreciate it, man. And the only other comment I have is, and like I said, my experience is a little different and the same as you guys's, but it's friendships, man. And there's 3 characteristics for a friendship. One is picking up wherever you left off, no matter how many years it's been, showing your vulnerability, and always being there for each other, man. And I'd be there for you guys forever. So that's all I got.
Right back at
Good to hear you, Raj.
Yeah, right back at you too.
Yeah,
No, I agree. I love that when we talk. I know we haven't been good. I mean, none of us live right next to each other. So any kind of get together, and if we had to get together, we'd want, Batman and Chris and Bill Johnson and whatever their other fit. John Pop, gotta get John Pop, Bancroft in the mix. We'd want to pull a lot of people in, but I love that when we talk, as rare as it is sometimes for some of us, that we talk about like we need to get everybody together because it still means something to us. So.
And I will also add to that the fact that whenever we do get a chance to talk with each other, even if it's been a while, it doesn't, as soon as the first sentence is dropped, it doesn't really feel like it's been a while. It's like, it's you're my brother.
Still family.
We're close, and we all care, and we're right there, through those hard times and through the great times, and through the times in between, that we're right there. That's why my first thing that I threw out was, every time I step onto that field, all of you guys are in my heart.
Not much love.
Mike, you almost make me want to fly in there tomorrow and come play with you guys.
Well, our damn plane, dude. Let's go.
Bring your eye report, though. Yeah.
Well, oh, that's right. Yeah. You better have that in, like, tomorrow too. Otherwise, you're
I'm clear from last year.
Oh,
I already asked just in case.
I guess along those lines, Roger, you've been away for so long. You definitely have the most vision out of all of us, by far. But they have a vision test you have to take now, and you have to qualify to play. And I've wondered if you would. It hasn't, I guess, totally become official, because there are a lot of there's a lot of the membership that doesn't necessarily, I guess, trust and agree that we've drawn the line at the right place. But currently, it's if your corrected vision is 20/70 or better, you're not eligible to play. And I don't know where you fit into that. Do you? Do you know what your vision is?
I don't know, but before you said that, I was going to throw out the challenge to all of you. Don't know where the parameters are, but I'm in the best shape I've been in like 10 years. So, like, let's go get this shit on. I'm ready. Let's go.
I mean, I know.
I'm not kidding, though.
I mean, I could play tomorrow, too. I know Mikey is playing. Eric, you got to be a water boy again. We know you're getting hurt.
Screw you, Danny.
Tape up his legs, man. Tape up his legs.
I'm down, man. Let's go.
I actually ran a base for the first time in 15 years, like 2-3 weeks ago. And Raji, I was on the show bragging how I ran a whole 100 feet and it didn't hurt. So I might be right there with you, Ro.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
We got to get a picture. I think we've had this story before.
Yeah.
Get a picture.
What's Hen Dog doing?
It's kind of funny story about Henry, because it's his birthday next week, and going back like a year ago, his wife Yasmin set up. It's Yasmin, right? There's Jasmine. Yeah. There's a Jasmine on our team, and I was like, "Am I saying the wrong name?" No, Yasmin. Right. Set up this Facebook group, and it's like, we're just going to start having a Wooford family barbecue every July. And she put me in the group. So I put that I was going. This before I knew the dates of the World Series or whatever. So, this group literally has been up since like August or September of last year. And like 2 or 3 weeks ago, Yasmin put a post in there. She's like, so Henry comes home from work today and asked me, are we having a barbecue next month? Been planned for a year. Dude had no idea it was going on. That was funny, but I
wanted to say some things. Danny, were you going to say something, or did I don't?
No, I said okay. I'm good.
Hey, I mean, 2 things really. I mean, and I won't get into it, but you guys know I always love being real. Hey, Eric and Danny, we went through some things, man, and it was all, it all was because how much, at least for me, how much I loved you guys, right? All the anger, all that was just a reflection of how deeply I felt about you guys, right? So
if you didn't act the way you acted, it wouldn't have mattered to you.
So I do. It is what it is. I'm glad we were able to put that behind us and get past that. It's funny. I was thinking about this because I've always thought about this. I remember back when we were, at this time, right? I threw on my Emmett shirt tonight, right? Because the Cowboys, that was the heyday of the Cowboys. Oh, who knew that I would have no more?
Another one.
30 years later.
You possibly ever would have thought it'd be so long, man. Who would have thought that? But
a Kings fan, that's who.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well,
you used to make
I'll
fun
say-
of us, but you know what Roger and I feel as a Kings fan now.
well, I say to compare the Cowboys and the Kings isn't quite a legitimate.
I forgot. We still
comparison.
don't have any championships. So
Yeah,
okay, my bad.
You guys don't know what the thrill of victory really is. But, I remember back then in 94, right, the NFL put out their 75 seasons video. And I used to watch it all the time. It was, to talk about Tom Landry, and they had the Raiders and all this and that. And, I'd always memorize lines from it and stuff like that. But one line that I always memorized, and it was towards the end of the thing. And again, I was 21. We were all 21. It was Harry Edwards, I believe, was talking, and he said, when they get ready to leave the game, it's not the games that they miss. It's not the fans or the applause that they miss. It's those guys going to war together, being able to look each other in the eye and say, I love you for what you did. Right. And it wasn't until I really did get ready to leave the game that I really realized the import of that. And you guys are those people that when I think back about, and the Dogs, man, hey, that was the greatest time in sports that I had. And so you guys are always a part of it, no matter what our success was. That didn't matter. What mattered was our friendship, our bond, and the work we put into it. So I'm glad we were able to have this episode here.
Hell
so.
yeah.
And the thing I loved about the Dogs, not one of us ever cared about stats. We all played for
Eric,
each other.
I'm just joking.
There is that.
Everybody else.
Did you
Everybody
miss
had
out?
their-
Did
we
you
had-
miss out
this-
on all the inappropriate times Eric called me off a ball so he could pat his fence?
Oh no, I got cleated by Eric a few times because he could make the play.
Got it.
That's zone integrity.
Yeah.
Just
But go ahead.
you didn't have
say
any
it,
then.
Danny.
Yeah, go ahead, G.
I always joke inappropriately. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. But just the way that we played for each other and had each other's back, and if somebody wasn't having a good game, we'd try to psych them back up, and it just always tried to gel as a team and play together as one. And when we finally clicked and made it happen and won 3 in a row, that was the first round of 3 in a row. You guys won 4 in a row later. That was always meant a lot to me, because being accepted onto your team, because I was the only outsider at the time, I think, right?
To begin with, yeah. Hell yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So being accepted onto you guys' team was always like these guys let me play with them, and because it was definitely a cool feeling to always know that you guys had my back, and I was always welcome to come out there and stay with you guys' house. It felt like family. Yeah, so it was just like a great experience. Wouldn't change a thing about it.
And it was great that we pushed each other to be better.
I mean, that we equally wanted. Well, Roger didn't want it as bad as we did, but
Come on. Now. With that said, now you throw me in the limelight. Seth, incredible comments, man. Thank you so much for that. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Very well
Yeah.
said, Seth.
yeah, actually, and I guess because Seth and I kind of, I guess more specifically with you, Eric, and you, Danny, like Seth and I kind of came from the same place when things fell apart or whatever. In the end, I know I said it to Eric at one point. And I don't think I said it to you, Danny, but in the end, shit, it just kind of hurt our feelings. Not to be like a total punk about it, but that's where it came from. Hated to see it come to an end. It meant so much.
It definitely. I mean, you can't rewind what was said and done back then. You can't who interpret it which way, right or wrong.
Yeah.
So shit just happens. Could you go back and change things? I don't think we would have lost if we stayed as the Dogs. If we didn't break away. If we just stayed together from 90 whatever, officially 95 we were the Dogs.
94 the first year.
Yeah.
Okay, 4.
Yeah.
I mean, this group kind of started all of us except for Mike were together in 93 for the first time. We were the Thrashers that year. Although I registered us as the Thrashers, but after March 1st, Seth and I tried to change the name to the Dogs. We were going, although I'm glad they didn't let us, because we were going to go with the California Dogs. And by the time we did it, we were the West Coast Dogs. So, and I've always liked that name. But that really the Dog started in 93, because 5 of us 6 were together then. And Mike joined us, and it was just a great ride from that point.
Yeah.
I stopped playing in 09, and I never, it was never intended as a retirement. I was just beat down mentally in beat ball, and I needed to get away for a while. And I had opportunities to go back and play with other teams, but literally one of the biggest reasons that I never did is because I knew I'd just be chasing what we had, trying to get that again, and I knew I'd never get it. I knew I'd never get. I didn't want to keep chasing after, knowing that we couldn't get back what we had, and that's just because I knew I reached the top of my beat ball happiness with that, or at least I believed that at the time, or whatever.
We had so much fun, and we had success, man. Fun and success, man.
Yep.
What more could you ask for, man? But we had so much fun, man. That was, that's really the reason you play sports, right? You do it.
Yeah.
You do it for the relationships. You do it for the fun. And hey, if you get success, that's great. If you get failure, hey, that's just as great, because that means you guys got to bond even deeper. So, hey, that was a fun time. It
was a hell of a ride.
Back in those days, they didn't have all these weekend tournaments. So I used to just fly in a week before the World Series. We'd practice all week and then go to the World Series. I'd kill to have that team.
I just said the one last member. I always remember answering my phone. God, what was that? 99, and Danny and Neil are on the phone. And Danny's like, "Man, guess where I am, Seth?" I'm like, "Man, I'm in the hospital."
Oh yeah, 98. Yeah,
98. There you go. Right, like a week before the tournament, 2 weeks before the tournament. Like, oh my God, Danny, what happened?
I played though.
Yeah.
You did.
I packed my hole. They cut into my leg with doors and played every inning.
Yeah.
At that time in New York, Danny where he lived had a high school right behind his house that had a big football field, and he would go out and he'd set a radio on one end and set the beat ball or something at 120 feet away, whatever, and go out and run your sprints. He's out there running his first sprint, and somebody had taken the big team football bench and put it in the middle of the field, and Danny hit that big long metal bench at full tilt, and it about split his leg in half, man.
If I had a video camera, I would have won the $10,000 on that. Thank God. I ain't kidding. Thank God. The leg that was coming up, and the bench was running the long way. So the leg that was coming up hit the end of the bench, and I literally slid along the bench and landed 15 feet past the bench. I did the Superman. And I got up laughing at first, and all of a sudden I feel something dripping down my leg. So then I picked up the bench and flung it out of my way, and I started doing sprints again. So two ladies are walking around the track.
Oh,
do you know you're bleeding? I go, I know. That's why I had to finish my 15 sprints for the day, though, before I went home.
Yeah. That's Danny Fabiano right there.
Then he flies out to Sacramento, and we're practicing at this field behind my house that summer. They just didn't take care of it. It's all dirty and nasty, and his leg gets a nasty infection from practicing
No.
What?
Neil.
What?
I went home. My mother goes, "What the hell did you do, you asshole?" And she cleaned my leg up, and whatever. I forgot about it because it healed. I dropped down to make a defensive play, and I feel like someone shot me in my leg because the ball hit my shin as I hit the ground.
Oh, all right.
When they took me to that, there was like a little infected sac inside my lower leg.
Right.
So that was inside my body before that, and the doctor had to cut it open. And the guy cut my leg open, and he's squeezing all the infection out of my leg, and I'm like sweating, I'm flipping out. And the guy goes at the end, he goes, "You're pretty tough." He goes, "Most people ask to be put out." Like, you never gave me up.
He didn't offer. His insurance wasn't good enough.
If you had offered me some drugs, I would have taken them.
I have drugs now.
I remember Danny called me because he was staying in the old Murphy room because I got a room with a Murphy bed in it. And Danny was staying in there, and he calls me in, and he puts my hand down on there and puts it down by his wound. And it was like silly putty. Like you could push your finger in it and it would form like a shape and all that. It's like, that doesn't look right, right? It's like, no, we're going to the hospital. There's something not right in there.
Yeah, when your lower leg's bigger than your top leg, your quad, you know something's wrong.
You didn't get back to my house for like 2 days, but sure enough, showed up at the tournament, played every game with us. Yeah, you're a trooper, dude. You're a trooper.
Fun times.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, man, thank you so much. I mean, shoot, I'm going to end the show here, but you guys can. I got the house to myself tonight, so you guys can hang out and chit chat for as long as you want. But I don't think the audience needs to hear us go on and on forever. But I literally have wanted to, as I've told Seth a couple years ago, I think it'd be fun to get our original starting six together, and it has not disappointed. I'm glad Eric kind of pushed for it. I was really impressed a few weeks ago after I had Parker. I had some of the young players in the league. Mark Morris from the Gateway Archers, one of them reached out. He's like, "Man, that's one of my favorite shows you ever did." He's like, "You got to get Danny and Eric on for a show like that." And I was like, don't, sit tight. We got something along those lines and a little bit better, man. And it has not disappointed. I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this. Loved hanging out with you guys.
Amazing.
Thanks a lot, Neil.
Thanks a lot, guys.
You bet. Thank
you.
you.
Love you, Raj. Good hearing your voice.
Yeah, Raj, good to see you, baby.
Yes, man.
Love all you guys,
you,
man.
Raj.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now that it's 3 in the morning, my time, I got to go to bed.
Hold on, we're ready to talk.
Go
Hang
run
on
some
for a minute.
sprints.
Yeah.
Hang on for a minute.
Roger's ready to have a drink with us.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, let me end the show, and then we could still
And then we'll sign off.
Hell yeah. So, all right, that's it. And that's it until after the World Series. Seth and I will be back to do a recap of the 2024 Beat Baseball World Series. Look forward to seeing you out here this week, Mikey. Look forward to seeing all of you out here. Much love to you all. Travel safe.
Hey, Neil, next time we do the show, hopefully it'll be President Neil McDonald, man. Our very own dog president, man.
Hell yeah.
Our very own dog president. So,
I got your vote, Mike. I mean, I know you're on a Texas team, and Texas has some rules about who they got to vote on this year. Do I got your vote, Mikey?
You got my vote, dude. I'm all in.
That's my boy. That's my boy. Talk to your teammates. If you
I haven't been put into that Texas vote for sure.
Tell him Neil used to wear a cowboy hat and cowboy boots, man. He didn't get woke until a lot later.
I wore cowboy boots to the banquet when I did my induction speech to the Hall of Fame last year. I had cowboy boots on. So no cowboy hat though. I'll wear hat. I don't like to wear hats no more. All right, that is it, everybody. Seth Dog, I won't cut you off this time. I'll let you get it in at the end, but that is it until after the World Series. Everybody be well until then.
Bye-bye. Go Sarge!
I mean, I like that, but I cut you off last time when you're like, vote! Nobody heard it because I cut the stream off. But we're still going. Do it, Seth Dog.
Oh, we're still going. Oh, hey, vote Neil McDonald. If you want the leadership, if you want the NBBA to go forward under steady leadership, great ideas, hardworking, vote Neil McDonald.
man. Love you guys. All right, the stream is